Thanks for coming, everyone. I'm going to read 4 or 5 poems from my new book just out a couple of months ago called Travel, Untravel. Can you hear me in the back?
Yes.
Okay. Which gathers together about 30 years worth of foreign travel poems. My first 3 books were American books, I guess, and this one gathers together poems from time I lived in China, Indonesia, French Polynesia, and throughout Europe. And I'm going to start with the title poem called Travel, Untravel. If you take a look at the book, you'll see that the T's are in parentheses, which also suggests something about ravel and unravel. And I find that identity unravels as one goes further into foreign cultures and loses language and is reduced to a nub of personality. And so here's the title poem called Travel, Untravel. There are a lot of foreign words in it, and I won't gloss them. It will be part of your unraveling, perhaps. Travel, untravel. You've met them, travelers half returned from afar, curled on a couch, comfortable, uncomfortable, worrying gifts from afar, a tattooed cow skull, a friend's gamelan inlaid with bone and pearl, a chipped tiki from a tohua. You've seen them unravel as the other world spins into view. Perhaps you felt the vertigo too. The pig's throat slit, spit dripped in a kava bowl, maggots in a plate of noodles, squid's eye stabbed with a heke stick, its inky signature floating across the coral reef. How well you know the abrupt dislocations of matter, firewalkers in Fiji, blue glaciers in Norway, eyes squinting in Tahitian sun, wide open over Mongolian grassland. Your gaze become the rose windows at Chartres, the glazed mosaics of the Alhambra. Your ear, the growing comprehension of Shanghai slang, flamenco shout, Marquesan pig grunt. Your hand gesturing toward the street, the sea, the rim of the horizon, a white flash of surrender. This next poem is called Corfu. It was published originally in the New England Review. I want to thank Stephen Donadio and C. Dale Young for taking the poem and making it famous. And Corfu, as probably most of you know, is a Greek island in the, it's one of the fertile islands in the Ionian Sea between Italy and Greece, rather than the dry islands of the Aegean. And this was written many years ago, one of my first experiences with otherness. Corfu. Late afternoon, we watched the waters change. Aquamarine, cerulean, royal blue, blue-violet, and now violet, deep violet, and now black. The patio lights say your eyes are blue, your lids purple, your skin copper. The glow of Greek mornings still upon your face, and what came later, something far from the jeweled coastlines and secret coves where lovers dive, make love, preserve each other's bodies with sun oils. Somewhere far into the interior of the island, where groves of orange, lemon, lime shiver in heat, where fragrant myrrh and olive mask a far older smell. All comes back to us this evening in the sweep of mountain wind. We feel a certain nakedness, remembering the backfire of our mopeds on the mountain road. Young fruit pickers perched in the foliage, their heads emerging like globed fruits as we passed. Arriving in a whitewashed village, we blew black smoke and siesta sun until the children pegged pebbles, pointing and running and begging. Women's black veiled heads hung out their windows, and their bony fingers pointed. Town fathers plied us with ouzo, retsina, then wrapped their legs around us in an old Ionian dance, and their hunger drove us farther out on the mountain road, where blind beggar widows huddle in their black shawls. As we sputtered and belched black fumes, they caught us in the crosshairs of their eyeless stares, worse than the eye of the all-knowing. 2 black holes for sockets, and the leprous nose, and that last hole of darkness where the mouth opens in need, the language foreign but familiar to any traveler. Tonight, we still see them as the Corfu waters go violet, go black. Hands rise from their scaly limbs, and they beg with their missing fingers. This next poem is called I Say Nada to Nada. And it covers a 30-year span. It records 2 of my trips to Cadiz, Spain, which is a little strip of land that is about the size of Manhattan. It sticks out into the Mediterranean near the Straits of Gibraltar. And of course, nada means nothing or nothingness, and Hemingway had a lot to say about that. I say nada to nada. Okay, let's get Hemingway out of the way right away. Here's the gun. Goodbye, de nada. Now let's get on with the main subject, back when there was a subject, nada. 33 years ago in Cadiz, I lost myself to nada. And who hasn't? Or else, how has one lived? Lost my rude tongue, my identifying swagger, my famous self-possession, all falsified and forfeited in a series of drunken, deteriorating days veering toward nada. So what, you say? Okay, here's the gun. I was 20, ripped jeans, rucksack, cervezas and chasers. I was dinner at 5 o'clock, no entiendo to every goddamn thing. I was guidebook challenged. Okay, cock it. I slept on a Urel pass, wandered the cobblestones muttering my one line, Donde esta Barreto pension? Lost my lunch on a slow train sour with goats and chicken shit. Don't I sound like everyone else? Like nada? Okay, uncock it. Point it. 33 years later. That's how long Christ wandered this dust ball before he choked on it. And though I suffered my own El Greco scenes, it was nada compared to Jesus' solo journey. No, I found other loves, many who washed my tired feet at night, then lashed them to my street shoes in the morning. What I'm saying is, nada hid in the smell of my socks, nada hid in the laundry lint in my belly button, in the husks of marriage rice, in the umbilicus sliced away from my daughter as she squeezed toward the light. Now I'm solidly en familia, mi muchacha y mi mujer holding me up, holding me back if I move too fast toward the hookah tables. I progressed, is what I'm saying, toward somethingness, toward those slow talkers inside me who cock their heads and give me that I'll be here a while look, but different than the old glazed stares at the bars, the old nada. The other side of en familia, the sock smell, the lint dust still linger every day, and other identities go hungry. But here in Cadiz, I line them up side by side at the tapas bars, and they talk it out under the 1,000-year-old olive trees, great grandsires of trees planted by the Phoenicians, those first wanderers, who rode the swelling nothingness of the sea and settled finally on the solid, sea-lashed piece of land. I'm going to end with two poems about China. This one is called Travel, Untraveled, Kohler, or Collar. And it takes place in the west of China, where the Great Wall comes to an end in the desert. And it records a moment of conflict between two of the travelers. If you travel long enough, you're bound to have conflict. There are three Chinese phrases: Wo Yao, I want; Wei Guoren, those are Westerners or barbarians, as the Chinese call us. They also call us Dabitsa, big noses. And Mayo, not have. Back when I was there in the 1990s, there was a lot of not have, Mayo. Now, in the superheated economy, there's a lot more have. But this records a time when there was Mayo. Kohler. We had come to the Great Wall's end in the desert of Jiaguan. Our tempers flared across the crumbled battlements out into the red heat. There were weeds, thorns, a few hard-shelled bugs. Love reduced to a black carapace under which a stinger, a biting mouth, a reflex, a poison. Heat withered our patience. Our bowels, stung by a virus, made us say words we'd regret. Peevish, pernicious, wo yao, I want, and nothing else. We both stormed off. Stormed could have brought some moisture to this desert. But no, this storm was a hot wind, stinging sand in the face, chipped sandstone from the last outpost that would cut and bury us. Wei Guoren, barbarian. Stripped of camouflage, of greenery, fluidity, we showed every tick and flaw. I could not stand one more day of Mayo, not have, not possible, not ever. I could not stand in one more ticket line, elbowing for a hard sleeper berth out of the heat. Come back tomorrow. Tomorrow and tomorrow, stretching away like the Great Wall disappearing into red dust. There was a Hami melon, the best melon in the desert, it was said. Pale green rind, and inside a thick, luscious yellow. Mayo to melons, mayo to Hami, to anything but a few dry husks in the street where others had stood ticketless for days. I could have spit in any traveler's face. I could have spit in her face, and she in mine. I could have spit in the wind and hit myself and liked it. I could have tasted black bile in every phlegmy word launched against the dryness. Down beneath the desert in a crypt, I saw an ancient face preserved in this dry heat, shrunk to a withered visage, devoid of the good wetness that waters our lips with thanks. Its lips turned down in an arid scowl for 4,000 years. Yeah, there was this visage down in a little museum in the desert, just 4,000-year-old face scowling, and that's how I felt. It was a perfect, and in case you think poets are always the heroes of their poems, this is not the case, at least in this one. I'll end with a poem called Dutsa, and it's another poem that takes place in the west of China in the desert. I hope it has a little better outcome than the last. And it involves a couple of the ethnic minority tribes there, the Uyghur and the Kazakh, who are often in conflict with the majority Han Chinese. There are two words, the Tian Shan, or the heavenly mountains, and the word Dutsa, which means diarrhea. Dutsa, in the Taklamakan desert of China. 7 hours of irritable, ass-hard desert bus ride. Uyghur and Kazakh squabbling with Han, yellow bilious light glaring from the Taklamakan, from their eyes. Finally, the hot wind withers us into fitful sleep. The Han beside me dozes on my shoulder. The Uyghur in front flops back on the bench seat, his body slipped between my legs. The Kazakh behind me slumps forward, snoozing between my shoulder blades. And the American woman beside me, my dear Kate, doubles up in a painful ball. Dutsa. No bathroom on this bus, no rest stop, no tree, bush, or rock. Somewhere out there lies Turpan, the lowest oasis on earth, a salt pan of scorching heat where rain evaporates before it falls. Yet grape trellises line the streets, cool shade along the Silk Road. What's the secret? Snowmelt hundreds of miles off in the Tian Shan, brought down by ancient irrigation, each bickering tribe hand-digging its portion beneath the sand so that water flows in dark channels all the way to the market town. But that green swath is hours off. Something must be done here in the withering moment. I wake the Uyghur and whisper, Dutsa, and point to my wife. He nods and whispers to the one in front of him, and on it goes, nodding and whispering until the last one shouts to the driver, Dutsa, and the whole bus shakes and skids to a stop. Kate scampers out, up over a low dune, a second and a third, and squats. Now the men lean out windows, others climb to the roof for the best view, and all laugh and clap each other on the back, Kazakh and Uyghur and Han, to see Kate's white butt above a sand dune and green explosions watering the desert until a cheer goes up and seeds the few wisps of clouds. Kate wipes up a roll of toilet paper like a white bunny tail, and again, more laughter and cheers. I give up, give in, from anger to good humor, and cheer my red-faced wife, the blood far up in her cheeks, the eyes dazzled desert blue, the taut mouth suddenly relaxing into the body camaraderie. How duela, feel better, they all say. And the bus rolls into rain that makes the desert bloom and cools tempers all the way to the wine-crazed town of Turpan. Thanks.